The vast darkness of space stretched out like an endless ocean, dotted with the cold, indifferent glimmer of distant stars. The Andromeda expanse stood as both a frontier and a graveyard, a region where time seemed to collapse into mystery. At the heart of this cosmic wilderness, the warship Cerberus cut a solitary path through the void, its sleek hull a testament to humanity's relentless drive to explore and conquer. Captain Elias Hawke stood on the bridge, a solitary figure illuminated by the soft, blue glow of instrument panels and distant nebulae. His eyes, hardened by years of unspoken sacrifice, gazed out at the swirling chaos of interstellar debris and ancient relics that peppered the darkness. Each derelict structure and abandoned orbital station whispered secrets of civilizations long lost, a silent reminder of what lay beyond the fragile veneer of human progress. The ship's corridors hummed with the quiet urgency of a crew preparing for the unknown. Officers exchanged terse words and determined glances as they readied their stations, their faces a blend of steely resolve and underlying apprehension. Hawke's steady presence was the beacon guiding them into uncharted territory, a realm where every shadow could harbor a threat and every glimmer of light might be the last hope for salvation. As the Cerberus advanced, the ship's sensors picked up fragmented signals, faint echoes from a distant past, intermingled with the soft hum of cosmic radiation. The relics of an ancient alien civilization floated like specters in the darkness, their origins lost to time, yet leaving an indelible mark on the fabric of space. These ghostly markers of bygone eras served as silent warnings, urging caution even as humanity pressed forward into the abyss. Hawke's mind was a battlefield of its own. He recalled the weight of command, the countless decisions that had led him here, and the personal demons that lurked in the recesses of his memory. Yet, the mission ahead demanded absolute resolve. With every passing moment, the boundaries between duty and destiny blurred further, and the captain knew that the coming journey would test not only the might of his vessel, but also the very essence of his soul. In the midst of this cosmic twilight, the warship surged forward, a symbol of humanity's audacity in the face of the unknown. As the dark vastness of the Andromeda expanse enveloped the Cerberus, a palpable tension filled the air, a prelude to the storm that was to come. The journey into the heart of mystery had begun, and there was no turning back. The corridors of the Cerberus resonated with a quiet tension, as if the very walls held memories of sacrifices long past. In the dim glow of the ship's ambient lighting, Captain Elias Hawke walked with measured steps, each stride a reminder of battles fought and choices made. The steady hum of the engine mingled with the soft echo of his footsteps, creating a cadence that seemed to echo his own inner turmoil. Hawke retreated to his private quarters, a sparse, utilitarian space adorned only with a few personal mementos, each a relic of a bygone era. There, a faded photograph of a smiling family and a tattered medal from a forgotten campaign lay side by side on a metal desk. As he stared at these tokens, memories surged forth like restless specters. He recalled the blinding flash of plasma cannons, the anguished cries of comrades, and the unbearable silence that followed the loss of those he once held dear. Each memory was a scar, etched indelibly upon his soul. In a quiet flashback, the captain remembered the day the order came, a mission cloaked in cold logic and unyielding duty. The command had been clear, to pursue a threat lurking beyond the fringes of known space. Yet, in that moment, Hawke had sensed an unsettling forewarning, a whisper that the cost of obedience might be more than he was willing to bear. The voices of his fallen comrades seemed to murmur in the recesses of his mind, urging him to question the righteousness of a path paved in blood. Later, in the solitude of the bridge, Hawke found himself engaged in a hushed conversation with his trusted second-in-command, Commander Livia Marquez. Her eyes, reflecting both determination and concern, met his as they discussed the mounting unease among the crew. "Captain," she began softly, "there's a restlessness in the ranks. They sense what you feel, the burden of our past decisions, and the uncertainty of what lies ahead." Her words, gentle yet insistent, resonated with the captain, who nodded in reluctant agreement. The exchange was brief, a shared understanding between two souls bound by duty and haunted by history. As the Cerberus sailed deeper into the unknown, the tension between past regrets and future responsibilities grew ever more palpable. Every shadow on the ship seemed to whisper a reminder of what had been sacrificed and what could yet be lost. Captain Hawk's eyes, though steeled by the demands of command, betrayed a quiet vulnerability, a recognition that the path before them was fraught with peril, both external and within. In that interplay of memory and anticipation, the seeds of doubt began to sprout. The haunting recollections of previous wars melded with the uncertainty of the present, forging an inner conflict that threatened to unmoor the captain from his steadfast resolve. Yet, even as the specters of the past loomed large, Hawk resolved to face the coming storm. For in the crucible of conflict, there was a hope, a slender, flickering light, that redemption might still be found amid the chaos of the cosmos. In the cold, unyielding silence of deep space, the Cerberus sailed through the cosmic night like a lone sentinel. The void outside the ship's reinforced windows was a tapestry of dark matter interlaced with the faint, persistent glow of distant stars. Amid this expanse, a subtle disturbance began to weave itself into the fabric of the ship's sensor readings, a series of elusive, cryptic signals that defied immediate explanation. Late into the ship's operational cycle, as the crew attended to routine checks, the sensor array picked up a pattern, a rhythmic pulse emanating from the depths of an uncharted sector. The pulse was neither chaotic nor random. It was precise, calculated, as if it were a language meant for a specific audience. Captain Hawk, having spent countless nights in contemplation, felt an immediate, inexplicable connection to the signal. It stirred something deep within him, a memory of both hope and foreboding. In the dim glow of the bridge, officers crowded around the main console. The data stream unfolded like a cosmic riddle on the screen, its undulating waveforms dancing in hypnotic patterns. Each pulse was a silent message, laden with layers of meaning and mystery. "It's not a distress call," murmured Lieutenant Anders, his voice barely above a whisper. "It's something deliberate." The observation rippled through the room, igniting a collective tension among the crew. As the transmission repeated, its cadence growing more insistent, Hawk ordered a full-spectrum analysis. In a hushed conference with his senior officers, theories abounded. Was this the echo of an ancient civilization, a remnant of a long-forgotten era? Or perhaps it was a deliberate communication, a beacon sent across the void by an intelligence that sought contact or warning. The ambiguity of the signal mirrored the unfathomable nature of the cosmos itself, where every anomaly held the potential for revelation or peril. Deep within the engine room, technicians recalibrated their instruments to decode the mysterious pulses. Their collective focus and tension were palpable, each moment stretching into a silent promise of discovery. As the encoded data began to yield fragments of an alien syntax, the crew realized that the signal was more than mere cosmic noise. It was a deliberate message, a call that carried the weight of purpose and the urgency of survival. Among these fragments emerged the unmistakable signature of Archon Vrel, the elusive leader of an alien civilization that had until now remained shrouded in myth and mystery. The intercepted snippets hinted at a philosophy of coexistence and defense, a stark contrast to the militant doctrines that had long driven humanity's conquests. Vrel's voice, though filtered through the vast distances of space, resonated with an eerie calm and profound conviction. On the bridge, Captain Hawk's steely gaze softened momentarily as he absorbed the implications of this revelation. The signals were not merely a prelude to an imminent conflict. They were a testament to the existence of an intelligence that viewed the universe through a lens vastly different from the one his own commanders espoused. The message was an invitation to reconsider the nature of the enemy, a subtle yet potent challenge to the orders that had led them into the Andromeda expanse. In that moment of suspended reality, the Cerberus was no longer just a warship on a predetermined path. It had become a vessel of discovery, a bridge between human resolve and alien enigma. The haunting signals in the void promised both danger and the possibility of a deeper understanding. And as the pulsating echoes of the transmission reverberated through the ship's corridors, a shiver ran down every spine. The journey into the heart of this cosmic mystery had truly begun. The tension aboard the Cerberus reached a fever pitch as the ship neared a ghostly derelict, an ancient orbital station half swallowed by the void. In that silent expanse, the first unmistakable signs of the enemy emerged. Without warning, the sensors screamed to life, multiple fast-moving blips, arranged in a formation too calculated to be mere debris. On the bridge, alarms blared as Captain Hawk barked out orders. All hands, battle stations. Prepare for engagement. The metallic voice, firm yet laced with a trace of uncertainty, cut through the murmurs of the crew. Each officer's face tightened with resolve as they gripped their controls, eyes flicking from the chaotic readouts to the unfolding reality outside the viewport. Outside, the enemy revealed itself, a fleet of sleek, angular vessels, their exteriors shimmering with an otherworldly luminescence. The alien ships moved with an eerie grace, their formation shifting like a living organism. In the midst of this formation, a larger, more ominous craft emerged, its design unmistakably distinct and foreboding. The realization was immediate. This was no random encounter, but a deliberate move, a herald of hostilities long suppressed. The Cerberus shuddered under the impact of the first volley. Energy beams sliced through the darkness, striking the ship's shields with sizzling intensity. Amid the chaos, a young ensign's voice crackled over the comm system. "Captain, shield integrity at 67%. We're taking heavy fire." Hawk's jaw clenched, and his eyes narrowed as he quickly assessed the situation. Every instinct honed by years of command kicked in, merging tactical acumen with the silent hope that a more peaceful solution might yet be found. Inside the command center, frantic orders were exchanged. "Redirect power to the aft shields," one officer called out. "Prepare the countermeasures," another urged. The Cerberus responded with the mechanical precision of a well-oiled machine, her systems straining against the barrage while the crew fought to maintain their composure. Amid this controlled chaos, Captain Hawk's voice resonated across the bridge. "Steady, everyone. This isn't the enemy we expected. Hold your positions and await further orders." In the midst of the storm of light and sound, a glimmer of dialogue emerged from the enemy itself. Over the ship's encrypted channels, a voice echoed, calm, measured, and chillingly articulate. "Captain Hawk, this is Archon Vrel. We mean you no harm. Surrender now, and we may yet spare your people further suffering." The words, laden with both menace and a perverse courtesy, cut through the cacophony of the skirmish. For a moment, time seemed to suspend. The crew paused, and even the relentless barrage of energy beams momentarily abated, as if the universe itself held its breath. Captain Hawk stared intently at the communication panel, his mind racing through the weight of the situation. His inner voice battled with the cold calculus of warfare. Could there be a path that avoided the annihilation of an entire civilization? But in that critical juncture, the realities of survival and the immediacy of threat pressed in on all sides. "Archon Vrel," Hawk replied, his tone a blend of command and cautious inquiry. "Explain your terms. This engagement wasn't our intention." His words carried over the comm system with the weight of a man who had seen too many battles and too many lost futures. Before a response could be fully decoded, a surge of enemy fire resumed, jolting the Cerberus back into the visceral reality of war. The alien fleet, as if emboldened by their cryptic warning, renewed their attack with a ferocity that left little room for negotiation. Sparks danced along the hull of the warship as energy shields strained against the relentless onslaught, each hit reverberating like a death knell in the confined corridors of the vessel. As explosions rippled along the outer defenses, the Cerberus maneuvered with desperate agility, weaving through the barrage in a precarious dance with destiny. In the midst of this violent ballet, the captain's face, illuminated by the flickering glow of battle, remained resolute. Every decision now bore the weight of countless lives, and every moment threatened to tip the balance between survival and utter devastation. The skirmish, raw and unrelenting, was more than a clash of military might. It was the collision of two worlds, each with its own truths and desperate imperatives. The first contact had been marked not by a handshake or a peaceful exchange, but by the violent echo of energy beams and the haunting promise of war. And as the Cerberus fought to maintain its course amidst the chaos, The seeds of an existential conflict were irrevocably sown in the heart of the cosmos. In the eerie lull that followed the initial barrage, silence reigned on the bridge of the Cerberus, a pregnant pause filled with both apprehension and reluctant curiosity. The air still crackled with the residual energy of conflict as Captain Hawk prepared to engage in a dialogue that could redefine the very nature of their mission. The bridge screens flickered as Archon Vrel's face materialized, a visage both serene and formidable. His alien features, subtly luminescent against the starry void, exuded an ancient wisdom that contrasted sharply with the rigid militarism of human command. Vrel's eyes, deep pools of otherworldly insight, met Hawk's gaze in a silent exchange of mutual recognition. Here were two leaders shaped by the burdens of command, each haunted by the specter of war. Captain Hawk. Vrel's voice resonated through the calm, measured and imbued with an almost poetic cadence. We find ourselves at a crossroads where the morality of our actions must be weighed against the survival of our peoples. Tell me, do you truly believe that annihilation is the only path to securing your future? Hawk's response was slow, deliberate. Archon Vrel, our orders dictate our actions. Yet, I stand at the precipice of my own conscience, questioning the righteousness of a war that could end not just lives, but the very essence of what it means to be sentient. His words carried not the certainty of battle plans, but the vulnerability of a man burdened with the gravity of countless decisions. Between blasts of intermittent enemy fire and the rhythmic hum of the ship's failing shields, the two leaders engaged in a conversation that transcended the conventional language of warfare. Vrel continued, his tone a blend of empathy and steel. Our civilizations are bound by a similar fate, the desperate clamor for survival in an indifferent universe. Yet, must we always choose conflict? Consider the possibility that the destruction you wage might be a self-fulfilling prophecy, a path that denies the chance for understanding. The dialogue, measured in the cadence of distant stars and punctuated by the echoes of energy weapons, began to blur the lines of enmity. Hawk's mind raced as he grappled with the notion that perhaps the orders he had followed so unquestioningly were rooted in a fear that could be challenged. I have seen the horrors of war, the irrevocable loss of life, and I have carried those scars as constant reminders, he confessed, his voice a raw admission of personal torment. But duty has a way of erasing doubt, compelling us to act without room for moral ambiguity. In the midst of this intimate confrontation, the Cerberus itself seemed to hold its breath. The crew, though locked in the midst of a skirmish, tuned their ears to the rare dialogue unfolding across enemy channels. For a fleeting moment, the warship was not merely a tool of destruction but a forum where ancient philosophies clashed and converged. Vrel's gaze softened, his words tinged with the sorrow of ages. In your duty, you seek order amidst chaos. In our defense, we strive to preserve a legacy that transcends violence. Is there truly no middle ground where reason might outlast the carnage? The question hung in the air like stardust, fragile yet potent. As the exchange deepened, it became apparent that neither side held all the answers. The clash was no longer solely a contest of firepower, but a collision of ideologies, a contest between the cold logic of militaristic commands and the tender hope that understanding might bloom even amidst the ruins of war. Hawk, his resolve tempered by this introspection, felt the stirrings of a resolve that might defy orders if it meant sparing innocent lives. In that shared moment of reflective tension, the vast darkness outside the Cerberus's viewport was illuminated not by the glint of weaponry, but by the flicker of a potential reconciliation. Both captains, separated by light years and the chasm of instinctual warfare, began to see that the true enemy might not be the other, but the unyielding cycles of conflict that had defined their histories. Thus, in the heart of a battlefield lit by the cold glare of interstellar combat, a silent revolution began, a revolution of thought where the philosophies of war were questioned and the hope for a different future was kindled. The battlefield erupted in chaos as the Cerberus and the alien fleet converged in a climactic confrontation. Every sensor on board screamed of danger, and the warship trembled under the relentless barrage of enemy fire. Captain Hawk stood at the helm, his face etched with determination and doubt, as if the weight of the cosmos rested on his shoulders. In the command center, alarms clashed with the rhythmic hum of battle. Shields at 45%, an officer called out, voice edged with urgency. The barrage of energy beams was unyielding, and each impact reverberated like a death knell through the corridors of the ship. Amid this tumult, Hawk's mind raced, haunted by the echo of Archon Vrel's measured words, a challenge to the morality of their orders. The situation was spiraling, and in the midst of the cacophony, a critical transmission broke through the din. Captain Hawk, came a clear, unwavering voice over the comms. This is Lieutenant Corbin. We're detecting a massive surge in enemy power. Something is coming our way. The lieutenant's tone was both cautious and foreboding, hinting at a new threat emerging from the depths of space. Hawk's gaze fixed on the star-speckled void beyond the viewport. In that moment, his mind wavered between the rigid orders of military doctrine and the stirring whisper of conscience that had grown louder with every passing minute. He recalled the lives lost, the silent pleas of those who had suffered in previous conflicts, and the solemn promise he had made to safeguard not only his crew but the fragile spark of humanity itself. A terse command burst forth, cutting through the turmoil. All units, prepare for a strategic maneuver. Divert power to the forward shields and ready the countermeasures. The order, though firm, carried an undercurrent of hesitation, a reluctance born of the man who was questioning everything he had ever known. The bridge fell into a tense hush for the briefest of moments, as if the very fabric of time had paused for reflection. Captain Hawk turned to Commander Marquez, whose eyes were filled with equal parts resolve and concern. Livia, if we push forward now, we risk everything. But if we stand down, we allow ourselves to be overrun. Can we afford this gambit? He asked, his voice low and laden with the gravity of the decision. Marquez's reply was steady, a pillar of support amid the storm. Captain, sometimes survival depends on a leap of faith. We've fought battles where every option carried a heavy cost. But perhaps, this time, it's our chance to change the course of this war. Her words, though laced with risk, sparked a flicker of resolve within him. At that pivotal moment, a rapid cascade of images flooded Hawk's consciousness. Visions of his fallen comrades, the innocent lives caught in the crossfire of indiscriminate orders, and the quiet, yearning hope for a future where conflict wasn't the only language spoken. The internal battle raged, and in that split second, Captain Hawk knew that he could no longer abide by orders that meant unchallenged annihilation. All hands, he declared, voice resonant and unwavering despite the chaos. We're deviating from protocol. I'm ordering a halt to the full offensive. Instead, we're initiating a tactical withdrawal while opening a channel for negotiation. The decision, monumental and perilous, rippled across the bridge like a shockwave. Murmurs of disbelief and cautious relief filled the room as the crew registered the magnitude of his choice. In that breathless silence following his command, the alien fleet's barrage momentarily faltered. The enemy's encrypted comm channel crackled to life, once more with Archon Vrel's measured tone. A wise decision, Captain Hawk. Perhaps together we can forge a path free from endless bloodshed. His words, though cautious, carried the promise of an unexpected understanding. With every fiber of his being attuned to the precarious balance between duty and morality, Captain Hawk steered the Cerberus into a calculated retreat, a maneuver as much physical as it was symbolic. It was the moment when a hardened warrior chose humanity over blind obedience, when a leader dared to challenge the ancient edicts of war for the chance of a better tomorrow. In the crucible of conflict, as explosions illuminated the dark expanse of space and the warship's shields shimmered against the renewed barrage, Captain Hawk embraced the irreversible act of defiance. The decision was made, a decision that would echo through the annals of interstellar history as the moment when the cycle of unyielding destruction was questioned and the seeds of potential reconciliation were sown. In the wake of the fierce battle, the once roaring engines of the Cerberus now murmured with a tired resignation, their hum a quiet dirge in the emptiness of space. The immediate fury of combat had subsided, leaving behind the haunting echoes of explosions and the lingering scent of scorched metal. Amid the shattered remnants of what once was a resolute fleet, Captain Hawk surveyed the damage with a heavy heart. a tapestry of loss woven into the very soul of the warship. The corridors, once alive with the fervor of battle, now bore the scars of conflict. Flickering lights and hastily patched repairs testified to the desperate struggle the crew had endured. As medics moved briskly through the dim passageways, tending to the wounded with a mix of urgency and reverence, an air of solemnity replaced the earlier clamor of combat. Every fallen comrade, every silent station, bore witness to the profound cost of a war that had momentarily spared its humanity. Hawk stood at the observation deck, the vast darkness of the Andromeda expanse stretching infinitely before him, a silent canvas punctuated by distant, indifferent stars. The panoramic window offered him a momentary solace, a space to reconcile with the enormity of his decision. Each spark of distant light seemed to echo the lives lost, the futures unfulfilled, and the weight of choices made in the crucible of conflict. In this reflective aftermath, the captain's mind replayed the pivotal moment when he defied orders, a moment marked by both courage and the terror of unforeseen consequences. The stark reality of that decision now mingled with a poignant regret, a quiet questioning of whether his leap of faith might usher in a lasting peace or merely postpone the inevitable cycle of violence. His inner turmoil was mirrored by the silence that enveloped the ship, a silence filled with the ghosts of the past and the uncertain whispers of the future. Among the survivors, hushed conversations emerged, sharing memories of lost friends and contemplating the ambiguous nature of their victory. Commander Marquez, ever the stalwart by his side, approached with a measured gaze. "Captain, the crew finds hope in your decision. Even amidst this devastation, there's a belief that change is possible," she said softly. Her words, both a comfort and a reminder of the heavy responsibility that now rested on his shoulders, resonated deeply with him. Meanwhile, in the heart of the command center, holographic images of fallen comrades and the debris of the alien fleet floated in solemn tribute. These silent memorials served as stark reminders of the cost of conflict, each flickering light a testament to lives that might have been spared if peace had found a way. In that shared moment of vulnerability, the crew began to grasp the enormity of the implications. Their battle was not only fought in the void of space, but within the depths of their own conscience. Outside the protective shell of the Cerberus, the alien vessels retreated into the cosmic dark, their own losses and victories shrouded in mystery. The brief cessation of hostilities had left an uneasy calm, a delicate interlude that carried the fragile hope of dialogue and reconciliation. Yet, even as the alien fleet receded, the scars of war were etched indelibly across the fabric of the universe. For Captain Hawk, the aftermath was a period of introspection and resolve. The stark silence of the bridge was filled with the unspoken acknowledgement of the lives irrevocably changed by his command. In the quiet, every heartbeat of the ship became a reminder of the delicate balance between duty and mercy, a balance that, if maintained, might someday herald an end to endless cycles of destruction. As the Cerberus drifted in the vast emptiness, a soft, persistent glow from the far reaches of the galaxy beckoned, a promise of new beginnings amidst the remnants of conflict. The chapter closed on a note of both mourning and tentative hope, with Captain Hawk silently vowing that the sacrifices made would not be in vain. In the silence of space, the seeds of a better future had been sown, even if their harvest remained uncertain. In the lingering twilight of conflict, the Cerberus sailed into a quiet sector of space, a void now punctuated by soft hues of starlight rather than the harsh glare of battle. The warship, battered and scarred from the recent cataclysm, moved slowly as if in reluctant meditation. The crew, though exhausted by the struggle, now gathered in subdued clusters, each lost in their own reflections on the weight of the past and the uncertain promise of the future. Captain Elias Hawk stood on the observation deck once more, the vast expanse of the Andromeda expanse unfurling before him like an endless tapestry of possibility. The silence was profound, broken only by the gentle hum of the ship's systems, a lullaby of survival after the storm. As he gazed into the infinite darkness, he saw not just remnants of destruction, but tiny, flickering beacons of hope scattered across the cosmos. These distant lights, resilient against the void, mirrored the inner spark he dared to nurture, A soft murmur of conversation rose among the crew as they began sharing whispered stories of courage and loss. Commander Livia Marquez, ever the voice of measured optimism, addressed the assembly in the quiet sanctum of the ship's common area. "We have been forever changed by what we witnessed and by the choices we made," she said, her tone both gentle and resolute. "Yet, this is not the end, but a turning point. A moment to rebuild, learn, and perhaps even reconcile with those we once saw only as enemies." For the first time since the battle's inception, a palpable air of tentative peace began to settle over the Cerberus. The alien fleet, having withdrawn into the depths of space, left behind an echo of their presence, a signal that the conflict was not entirely lost to enmity. Archon Vrel's words, still resonant in the captain's mind, hinted at a mutual desire to move beyond endless cycles of violence. There was an unspoken understanding that survival, for both species, might depend on embracing the unknown paths of diplomacy rather than the all-too-familiar trails of warfare. In a quiet meeting aboard the bridge, Captain Hawk and his senior officers laid the groundwork for a new course. Plans were drawn to initiate a direct channel of communication with Archon Vrel, a fragile bridge over a chasm of mistrust and history. The conversation that ensued was cautious, measured by the scars of recent battle and tempered by a shared recognition of the high cost of relentless conflict. It was a dialogue that spoke of forgiveness, of learning from the past, and of daring to dream of a future where war was not the only answer. As the Cerberus drifted further into this reflective interlude, the ship itself seemed to exhale, its systems no longer strained by the urgency of combat, but resonating with a newfound calm. Captain Hawk felt the quiet weight of responsibility ease ever so slightly, replaced by a delicate hope that the choices of the present might indeed herald a better tomorrow. Every light on the distant horizon served as a reminder that even in the vast darkness of space, new beginnings could be found, if only one dared to seek them. In that gentle convergence of introspection and possibility, the story of the Cerberus reached its poignant conclusion. The battle had been fought, the choices made, and the future, though uncertain, now shone with the promise of redemption and reconciliation. With a steadfast gaze fixed on the endless night, Captain Hawk resolved to carry the lessons of the past into every decision yet to come, knowing that the seeds of peace, fragile as they might be, had been sown in the heart of the cosmos.